Hello everyone, welcome to Maths Academy. In this video, I will be discussing the 50 O-level target questions that are constantly tested in your O-level examination. So if you had watched my previous video, then you will have a clear understanding that I had discussed 20 questions out of the 50 questions. So that in this video, I will be discussing the remaining 30 questions. So with that being said, let's get started. So question number 21. It says expand and simplify. And they are given us two algebraic equations, that is x plus 1 and x plus 3. So to expand this, first you take the first value, that is x, and you multiply it with the second bracket, that is x into x and x into 3. And then you take the 1 and then that you multiply it with the second bracket. So you get 1 into x and then 1 into 3. So this is how you multiply it. The first term with the second bracket and then the second term with the second bracket. And then once you get the answer, you simplify it and then you give it in the simplest form. Now let's do it. So this will be the answer. X squared plus 4x plus 3. So this is the final answer. So with that, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 22. It says, if it takes 3 men to dig a well completely within 9 days, how many men is required to complete twice the task within 6 days? So now let's plot the informations that is given. This is equals to 1 well, because they are told here to dig a well. So 3 men takes 9 days to dig 1 well. So they are asking how many men is required to complete twice the task within 6 days. Let's put men as x. So first we should calculate the number of man days. So this will be the equation to calculate number of men days. Number of men multiplied by number of days. So by using this equation, if you calculate 27 man days, this is equals to 1 task. So to complete 2 wells, that is equals to 27 multiplied by 2. This is equals to 2 wells. That will be equal to 54 man days. So now we should calculate number of men required. So to calculate that, we should divide the man days by the number of days. So there you get days cancel, 6 to this cancel, that will be 9. So that is equals to 9 men. So number of men that is required to complete twice the task within 6 days is 9 men. So with that, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 23. It says, what are the 2 factors that affect sin theta? This you might have learnt in the trigonometry lesson. There are 2 factors that affect sin theta, that is the opposite side of a triangle and the hypotenuse side. For example, if you take this as a triangle and this is sin theta, and the opposite side of this angle is this side, and always the hypotenuse side will be this side. So the 2 factors that affect sin theta is the opposite side and the hypotenuse side. So I hope you understood it. With that, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 24. A VAT of 15% is charged on the selling price of mobiles. If the selling price of a mobile phone is 24,000 rupees, find the amount to be paid as tax. So the tax percentage is 15% and the selling price of one mobile phone is 24,000. So the tax is charged on the selling price of these mobile phones. So now we should calculate the tax that is charged per mobile phone. So in this, the simple equation will be this will be the equation to calculate the amount of tax charged per mobile phone. That is the value of the mobile phone, that is 24,000, multiplied by the VAT percentage, that is 15%. So 24,000 multiplied by 15% gives you the amount to be paid as tax. So you all know, whenever we write percentages, we put 15 over 100 because percentage is expressed over the value of 100. So 15 over 100 will be the percentage of 15%. So that will be equal to 3,600 rupees. This is the amount that is paid for the tax. So I hope you understood it. With that, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 25. Represent the area of the square as factors and expand it. So you know that all the sides of the square are equal. There is a simple equation that we can use to calculate the area of a square. That is the length into length. That will be x plus 5 centimeter into x plus 5 centimeter. That will be x plus 5 squared. So now let's put into factors and expand it. As I have told you this in my 21st question. You do the same way and you expand it. So now we have arranged them in the factors form. X plus 5 squared will be equals to x plus 5 into x plus 5. So now we should expand it. So this is the final answer, x squared plus 10x plus 25. So I hope you understood. So with that, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 26. Find 1 over 2 of rupees 2000. And I'm sure that you are familiar with this question because I have discussed this question in my previous videos too. That is a fractions video. So first you put the 1 over 2 and this off turns into multiplication and you put the value, that is rupees 2000. 1 over 2 multiplied by 2000, you get 1000 rupees. So with that, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 27. The distance time graph of the motion of a bus is given below. Calculate the speed of the bus within the last 30 seconds. So this is the distance time graph and they are given the distance in kilometer and the time in minutes. This should be seconds and this should be meters, not kilometers. So now we should calculate the speed of the bus within the last 30 seconds. The last 30 seconds is this portion of the graph. So we should take this point and this point. So first the amount of distance traveled within the last 30 seconds and the amount of time taken within the last 30 seconds, that is 30 seconds. So you take 50 and you minus it with 30 because we take only this part, the slope of the line, and you divide that by the 30 seconds. So this is equals to 2 over 3 meters per second. You can also convert this to decimal number, but keeping it in fraction is more easier to understand. So with that, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 28. ABCD is a straight line. According to the given data, find the magnitude of ECD. ECD. We are going to find magnitude of this angle. So to find that, first we should find this angle. To find that angle, you should minus 60 with 25 because there is a geometrical theorem that says the exterior angle is equals to the sum of the opposite interior angles. So sum of the opposite interior angles of this exterior angle is this angle and this angle. So this angle and this angle will be equals to 60 degree. So then 60 degree minus this angle, you get this angle. So if you put this angle as y, this angle as x. Usually for these types of questions, you do not need to write the geometrical theorems, only for the bigger questions, that is in your paper 2. So that will be equals to 35 degree. So y equals 35 degree. To calculate ECD, that is x, this is a straight line. You can see it's a straight line. So straight line adds up to 180. So x equals 180 minus y. Y is 35 degree. You get 145 degree. This will be your final answer. So I hope you understood it. With that, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 29. It says ABC is a right angled triangle. According to the given data, tan theta equals 3 over 4. So what is the trigonometric ratio which represents 3 over 5? So now let's mark this tan theta 3 over 4 on this diagram. So tan theta equals opposite over adjacent. So opposite side, this is the opposite side, this length will be 3 and this is the adjacent side of this angle. So this AC will be 4, AB will be 3, AC will be 4. Now we should find this hypotenuse side. So using the Pythagoras theorem, you can find the value of this hypotenuse side, because the Pythagoras theorem says this length squared and this length squared will be equals to the squares of this length. So now let's include the values. This is 3 and this is 4, and then using the Pythagoras theorem, let's find this value and then let's find out what's the trigonometric ratio that represents 3 over 5. So therefore this will be equals to 5. So 3 over 5, this and this. So this is the opposite side, this is the hypotenuse side. So you can see that sin theta equals the opposite side in the hypotenuse side. The trigonometric ratio that represents 3 over 5 is the sin theta. So with that, let's move on to the next slide. Find the value of x and y, and they are given these matrices. So to find the value of x, you should multiply 2 and 3 and you should add with minus 1. So that is minus 1. So 2 into 3 is 6, 6 minus 1 is 5. So x equals 5. So now to find y, you should multiply 2 into 0, that is 0, plus y, and that will be equals to 4. So therefore y equals 4. So x equals 5 and y equals 4. This is how you do the matrices. So I hope you understood it. With that, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 31. It says, based on the information given in the diagram, write the relation between AB and XY. And the second question, if XBY equals 55 degrees, find the magnitude of ACB. So now let's do the first question. Write the relation between AB and XY. So if you take this triangle, you can see this is an equiangular triangle. AB is equal to 2 times XY. So AB equals 2 times XY. XY equals half of AB. So let's write them down. So AB equals 2 times XY and XY equals half of AB. And the next question, if XBY equals 55 degree, that is this angle XBY, this angle equals 55 degree, find the magnitude of ACB, this angle. Since this angle and this angle is congruent, this angle XBY and XDY is congruent to each other. Therefore, XBY will be equal to XDY, that is 55 degree. So if this angle is 55 degree, this angle will also be equal to 55 degree because they are on the same segment. That means they are on the same circumference with the same base. The base of this triangle is AB and the base of this triangle is also AB, and they lie on the circumference of the circle. So that means this angle and this angle will be equal. So since this angle is 55 degree, this angle will also be equals to 55 degree. Therefore ACB will be equal to 55 degree. So now let's write them down. So I hope you understood it. With that, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 32. It says simplify. And you can see the operator is minus. So if you have watched my fractions video, the part 1 of the fractions video, I have taught you that whenever you get an operator that is minus, you should make the denominator equal. If the denominator is equal, then you can do the calculation, and if the denominator is not equal, you should see the common LCM of the both terms, which means the denominator, and then you should make the denominator equal, and then you should do the calculation. So in this, the operator is minus, but the denominators are not equal. So to make the denominator equal, you should multiply this fraction by 3. You should multiply the numerator and the denominator by 3, and then you can simplify it. So there I have multiplied it by 3. 3 multiplied by 1 minus b and 3b. That is on the denominator. So now we should simplify this. 3 into 1 is 3, that is minus 3, and minus 3 into minus b, that is plus 3b. So therefore you simplify that and then you give it in the simplest form. And always you should note that the denominator does not change. So this will be the final answer. 2 plus 3b over 3b. So I hope you understood it. With that, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 33. It says, what is the special name given to the side AB? And you can see this is a right angle triangle. And in a right angle triangle, this length, that is the AB length, is known as the hypotenuse side. So therefore, the special name given to the AB length is hypotenuse side. So I hope you understood it. With that, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 34. It says factors of 6x squared minus 7x plus 2 are 2x minus 1 and ax plus b. And they are asking us to find the value of a and b. So now let's simplify this and then let's find the terms or the values that represents a and b. So whenever you get these type of questions, first you should multiply this first factor and this last factor, that is 6x squared plus 2. You should multiply that so that you get plus 12x squared, and then you should try to match two numbers that adds up to the value 12, but some of those two numbers should add up to the value 7. Let me show you how it's done. This is how it's done. 12x squared. We multiplied the first factor and the last factor, that is 2. Simply we can tell that as the third factor. 6x squared into 2 is 12x squared, that is plus 12x squared. And then now we should match this 12x squared with minus 7. So which means you should have two numbers, and if you multiply with those two numbers, you should get 12x squared, and the sum of those two numbers should be equal to minus 7. So I have taken minus 3 into minus 4. So minus into minus is plus, 3 into 4 is 12. So 12x squared, x into x is x squared. And minus 3x plus minus 4x gives you minus 7x. So now we can write 6x squared. Instead of minus 7x, we can take this value, that is minus 3x and minus 4x. And then we can put plus 2. By that we can factorize and get the final answer, and then from that we can find what's a and what's b. So there I have simplified this by taking the common out of this. The common factor of this 6x squared minus 3x is 3x. So there you get 2x minus 1. And the common factor of this is minus 2. So I have taken minus 2 out, and then I have got 2x minus 1. And from that I have taken the common factor from both. 3x minus 2 in one bracket and then 2x minus 1 in another bracket. So there we have got 2x minus 1. Here also 2x minus 1. but here it's 3x minus 2 and here it's ax plus b. So that means a is 3 and b is minus 2. So therefore this will be the final answer. A is 3 and b is minus 2. So I hope you understood it. With that, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 35. The square root of a certain number to the first approximation is 4.5. Select relevant number from the following. So from this we should see first approximation of 4.5. It should be between 16 and 25 because 4.5 is also closer to 5 and also closer to 4. So we have put all the numbers starting from 4 squared to 5 squared. 4 squared is 16 and 5 squared is 25. And you can see 4.5 is exactly in the middle of 4 squared and 5 squared. So if you see the middle of this, that will be the final answer. So to see the middle, you should see the number of values that's there, that is 10. So 10 divided by 2 gives you the middle number. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. So we should see the fifth value. So when we see fifth value, this is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So therefore the final answer will be 20. This is the simple trick that you can use to find the square of a certain number. So therefore you simply underline this factor. This is not the exact value, but this is the first approximation, which means the rounding of values. When you take the exact value, you get 20.25. So I hope you understood this trick. So with that, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 36. It says the value of a house is 55,000 and the annual rate percent 10%. Find the quarterly rate that is paid. Annual rate means the amount that is paid for 1 year, which is 12 months, and quarterly rate means the amount that is paid for 3 months. So when you divide the annual rate by 4, you get the quarterly rate. So first let's find the amount that is paid annually and then let's find the amount that is paid quarterly. So the amount that is paid annually will be equal to the amount of the house multiplied by the annual rate percentage. That is 10 over 100 because we always express percentage over 100. So when you multiply and divide it, you get the final answer as 5,500. So when you are calculating for amount that is paid quarterly, you should divide the amount paid annually by 4. So therefore, the quarterly rate that is paid is equals to 1,375. So when you multiply the quarterly rate by 4, you get the annual rate, and when you divide the annual rate by 4, you get the quarterly rate. That is a simple definition you should remember in these types of questions. So I hope you understood it. With that, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 37. When a fair cube with numbers 1 to 6 marked on its faces is tossed, find the probability of getting a triangular number. So it says when a die of numbers 1 to 6 is marked, that is tossed, and they are asking us to find the probability of getting a triangular number. So first we should find what triangular numbers are. So these are the triangular numbers 1, 3 and 6. And these are the numbers that is marked on the die. So there we can see that 1 is there, 3 is there and 6 is there. So the probability will be 3 over 6. That will be equal to 1 over 2. The reason I took 3 over 6 is because out of 6 there is 3 triangular numbers 1, 3 and 6. So that's what I took 3 over 6. First I have taken the triangular number and then I have put the total value, that is 6. So I hope you understood it. With that, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 38. It says a vendor sells an apple for rupees 120 and an orange for rupees 200. A person buys X number of apples and 2 oranges for rupees 1000. Construct an equation and find the number of apples he bought. So they have given a statement and they have told us to construct a simple equation by taking the number of apples as X and solve it. And the price of an apple is 120 and the price of an orange is 200. So now we can arrange the equation like this. This will be the equation. 120 is the price of an apple and he brought X number of apples, and a price of an orange is 200 and he brought 2 oranges. So 2 into 200, and sum of these will be equal to 1000. Now by solving this, by multiplying 2 into 200, that gives you 400, and if you take 400 to the other side, you get 1000 minus 400, that will be equal to 600. So 120x equals 600, x equals 600 divided by 120, that will be equal to 5. So number of apples he brought is 5. So now let's write them down. And the number of apples he bought is 5. Number of oranges is 2. Number of apples is 5. So I hope you understood it. With that, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 39. It says there are 3000 students in a school. 2/3 of them are boys. Find the total number of girls in this school. So this is the information that is given, and this is the question that they are asking from this. Now we should find the total number of girls in this school. Total number of students, that means boys and girls, equals 3000, and out of them 2/3 are boys. So which clearly means 1/3 is girls, because 3/3 is the total. Out of that, if you minus 2/3, that is the boys, you get the girls. So that is 3/3 minus 2/3 gives you 1/3. And 1/3, if you multiply by 3000, you get the number of girls in this school. So now let's do that. So the total number of girls in this school is 1000. So I hope you understood it. With that, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 40. It says water flows into the tank at a rate of 40 liters per minute. Find the capacity of water filled in the tank after 10 minutes. So it says 40 liters is collected in the tank in 1 minute. So to find for 10 minutes, you should multiply the 40 liters by 10, so that you get the amount of water, the volume of water that is collected in the 10 minutes duration. So with that, let's do that. So 40 liters of water is collected in the tank, and the duration of that activity is 1 minute. So the amount of water that is collected in the tank after 10 minutes is 400 liters. So I hope you understood it. With that, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 41. It says find the volume of the cube. So now we should find the volume of this cube. Volume means the interior capacity of a 3D object. So now to calculate volume of this cube, we have a specific equation to calculate that. That is the square's area into the height. And I'll put the equation on the screen. This will be the equation to calculate the volume of this cube. Using the labels, that is the length, breadth and height, let's substitute the labels with the values and let's find the final answer that will come. So this will be the volume of this cube, that is 512 cubic centimeter. So I hope you understood it. With that, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 42. It says find the LCM and they have given us three algebraic expressions. So if you still doesn't know how to calculate the LCM of algebraic fractions, algebraic expressions and numerical values, then you can watch my fractions part 2 video that you see on screen right now. So now let's do it. Now you should put these terms as squares. For example, if you take x squared, you should put x squared. And if you take 12, you should put 2 to the power 2, that is 4, and multiplied by 3 to the power 1. So 4 into 3 is 12. So now to put the LCM, you should take the largest factor of each and every unknown terms. So now if we take for 2, the largest value for 2 is 2 to the power 3. And if we go to 3, the largest power of 3 is 3 to the power 1. And for x, it's x squared. And for y is y to the power 1. So now let's put these values in the LCM column and let's find the final answer, and that will be the LCM of these three algebraic terms. (24) x squared y will be the LCM of these three algebraic terms. So with that, let's move on to the next question. Question number 43. It says solve the inequality and represent the suitable integral solutions that x can take. And they are given an equation 2x plus 20 is greater than 50. Now we should solve the equation and we should find solutions of x. What are the numbers that x can fit? So now let's solve this. So you should subject 2x while taking 20 to the opposite side with the opposite sign, so you get 30. And now you should subject x, so x equals 30 divided by 2, so that x equals 15. So now we have found out that x is greater than 15. So the integral solutions that x can take is the numbers that are greater than 15. For example, 16, 17, 18 and so on. Those are the solutions for x. So let's write the first three solutions, that is 16, 17 and 18. So with that, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 44. Represent the inequality in a number line. So they have given a number line and this is the x-axis and these are the 2 points they have given. First, let's mark the 2 points, that is -1 and 5 on the given number line, and let's do the required things that they have asked. So it says here x is greater than -1, which means it should go in the right hand direction. It should go in this direction. And here it says x is less than 5, which means it should go in the opposite direction, in this direction. So 5 should go in this direction, -1 should go in this direction. So then we can just mark a straight line like this, which means -1 goes in this direction and 5 goes in this direction. So I hope you understood it. With that, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 45. A person takes a loan amount of rupees 25,000 with a compound interest rate of 15% annually. Find the total amount that he should settle by the end of 2 years. So now we should find the total amount that this person should settle after the end of 2 years. And the interest rate percentage annually is 15%, which means 1 year. Annually means 1 year. So now let's put 25,000 To find the whole amount, it should be 115 over 100. But to find the interest only, it should be 15 over 100. So directly let's calculate the whole amount. So this is how you write it. 25,000 into 115 over 100. That is the total amount, which means the loan and the interest. Because 100% represents the loan and 15% represents the interest. So this will be the total amount for the first year. So that will be equal to 28,750. This is the total amount that he should pay at the end of first year. So now let's find the amount to be paid in the second year. So to find that, you should take this amount, that is 28,750, and you should multiply it with 115. So this will be the amount that he should pay at the end of 2 years. The amount will be 33,062.50 cents. So I hope you understood it. With that, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 46. It says calculate the mid value for the given class intervals. So now we should calculate the mid value. So to find the mid value of the given class interval, you should first add. For example, if we take 10 to 30 class interval, we should add 10 and 30. So you get 40, and you should divide 40 by 2. So that will be the mid value of this class interval 10 to 30. So this is how you do. 10 plus 30 equals 40, divide by 2, that gives you 20. That will be the mid value of class interval 10 to 30. So now if we see the next one, 30 to 50. So you add these two values, that is 30 plus 50, you get 80, and you divide that by 2, you get 40. And 50 to 70 class interval, the mid value will be 70 plus 50, that will give you 120, and if you divide that by 2, you get 60. So I hope you understood it. With that, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 47. Find the time that takes a person to reach a distance of 300 km traveling with the speed of 30 km per hour. So to find this, we can use a simple equation, speed equals distance over time. And by using that equation, we can substitute the values and subject the time and find the time that takes this person to reach a distance of 300 kilometers. So this will be the simple equation to calculate the time. So speed is 30 km per hour. Distance is 300. Now you can substitute these terms with the values, and then you can subject the time, and once you subject that, time will be equal to distance divided by speed. So the time taken for this person to reach a distance of 300 kilometers will be 10 hours. So I hope you understood it. With that, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 48. A person buys 3000 shares from a company which sells each share at a price of 100 rupees. At the end of the year, he receives rupees 30,000 as dividend from the shares. So they have given a statement and they have given two questions. The first question is, find the total amount he invested in this company. And the second question is, find the annual dividend per share the company pays. So now let's do these questions. So this will be the equation to calculate the amount the person has invested in this company. That will be number of shares the person owns multiplied by the price per share. So number of shares the person owns is 3000. Price per share, that is 100 rupees. That will be equal to 300,000 rupees. The amount the person has invested is 300,000 rupees. So this is the amount that the person has invested in this company. And the second question, find the annual dividend per share the company pays. So to find the annual dividend per share the company has paid, we should use the equation the total dividends received at the end of 1 year divided by the number of shares. That will be the equation to calculate the dividend per share. So this will be the equation. Dividend per share equals total dividend that the company has paid this person divided by the number of shares this person has owned in this company. So total dividend that this person has received is 30,000 and the number of shares is 3,000. So the annual dividend per share that the company has paid this person is rupees 10. So total amount invested in this company is 300,000 and the annual dividend per share this company has paid is 10 rupees. So I hope you understood it. With that, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 49. What are the properties of a parallelogram? So you all know the properties of a parallelogram. The opposite sides are equal, the opposite angles are equal, the diagonals bisects the area of the parallelogram, and the opposite sides of a parallelogram are parallel to each other. Those are the 4 properties, and out of those 4 properties you can write 2 of them. So these are the 2 properties I have written. Altogether there are 4 properties. Out of that I have written 2 properties. The opposite angles are equal, diagonals bisect the area of the parallelogram. So I hope you understood the properties of a parallelogram. So with that, let's move on to the next question. Question number 50. Using the squares of binomial expressions, prove that 100 squared equals 10,000. So now using the theory of binomial expressions, I have also made a video relating this. So if you do not have an idea what's binomial expression and how to solve squares using binomial expression, you can check the video that you can see right now on the screen and you can learn how to do squares of 2 binomial expression. So now let's prove 100 squared equals 10,000. So to make it 100, we will be using 2 values. That will be 90 plus 10 to the perfect square. So these are the 2 numbers that I will be using to prove that 100 squared equals 10,000. So now let's arrange them. So now we have arranged them. 90 plus 10 is 100. 100 to the perfect square is 100 squared. There are 2 ways of expanding this, but I will show you the second method. The first method is already posted in my YouTube channel. You can go watch that. And the second method I will teach you here. So first you take the square of this, that is 90 squared. You put that 90 squared. And then you take the square of the second value, that is 10 squared. You put 10 squared. And then you take the product of these 2, that is 90 into 10, that is 900. And you multiply that 900 by 2. So there you get 8100 plus 10 square is 100 plus 90 into 10 is 900. So 900 into 2 is 1800. and when you add each and everything you get 10,000. So there we have proved 100 squared equals 10,000. So this is how you do these types of questions. Make sure to check my video out so that you can be more familiar with these questions. So with that, I have completed the 50 questions. I hope you understood each and every question, the way of identifying a question and answering them. You can also click the link in the description below to get the original PDF of this paper. So if you haven't watched my previous video where I have discussed the first 20 questions out of the 50 questions, make sure to watch that too. I will put the link for the previous video in the description below. So make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to this channel if you are new, and stay connected for future uploads. I'll see you all in my next video.